Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another session on intro into Google Drive. I remembered to put my microphone on this time, so we don't need to restart the introductions. So, welcome everyone. We've got a great session, action-packed jam session for you guys today. We've got three activities I'm going to try and squeeze in. Just because I come up with some ideas that I thought would be quite useful for you. Some really interesting and kind of creative activities that can utilize Google Sheets, because that's what we're going to look at today. All right. Let me just have a quick check to see who's on our chat. Okay, whoever's there, hello. Give us a shout in our live chat there if you've got any comments. That'd be fantastic. And let's get started. Okay, so today we are on session 2 of intro into Google Drive. We had a taster session a couple of weeks ago that kind of give a brief overview on all the applications associated with Google Drive. That's Google Docs, Google Sheets, Slides, and we've done a few little activities in each just to give you a little flavour of what was to come in this actual course, which is a 5-week course. Last week we done a really cool session that was using Google Docs. Google Docs is Google's equivalent to Google, to Microsoft Word, if you like, or a word processing application. And we've done some really cool things in that, and I'm just going to quickly go over those. I've just had my vaccination today, so I'm halfway there to getting immunised. But if you see my left arm drop off, please contact us or contact somebody and send out an SOS. I'm feeling all right at the minute, so that's good. Okay, so yeah, we're on session 2. Session 3, I'm thinking about doing Google Slides, which is the PowerPoint equivalent. But please feel free. This is not fixed. This is just the way I've laid out the course. So if you guys have got any suggestions on where you would like to steer the course, give us a shout on our social media channels or in our live chat, and we'll incorporate your suggestions wherever we can. All right. So as always, a quick one. We have an enrollment form, which we would really appreciate you filling in. It looks a little bit like this. Just got some basic information in there, and it's got the course name, my name, which is Leon, the tutor, and the date that you started the course. This is really to track your learning, so hopefully you learn something in today's session, and it's vital for us to demonstrate to our funding providers, which are the National Lottery in this case, that we are interacting with the people that we say we will do when we apply for such funding. All right, so please fill that in. It takes no longer than say 30 seconds. You don't need to fill in every field. Just fill in the basic bits of information and send that through to us. All right, that'd be fantastic. We've also got a survey which we would like you to fill in at the end of the session, and again, it's basic information, and we really use this to monitor our training delivery and to try and improve and develop our sessions to make sure you guys are getting the best that we can offer. All right, so there's a basic form on here. We'd like you to fill in. There's a link that I've just clicked on here. It'll take you to this form. Fill in a few basic information there. Should take you no longer than say a minute to fill in. And that would be really appreciated because it would help us take on board your feedback. Just out of interest, this form is created from an application within Google Drive, which we will be covering in the next one or two, well, in the next, I think it'll be the 4th session, and this is Google Forms, which is a really, really quick and easy way of creating a form which looks like this, where you can have your company branding at the top or whatever it is. It might be a community group or something like that, and fields that you can easily input very, very easily. You don't need to have a degree in science or IT to fill these in. I've used them a couple of times and spaced out quite a long time. So I might have used one a couple of years ago and then picked it back up again, and you can jump straight back in and use this program because it's so easy to use. It's just a really good method of collecting information, and you can get charts and things like that from that information that you gather, and providing that you've set up your form correctly. So we'll be looking at that in for coming weeks. All right. So that's the session forms. Please follow the links and fill them in. If you have any issues with them, please give us a shout, and we will help you complete them. Okay, but they're really important for us to deliver these sessions. Okay, today's session we're going to be looking at a recap from last week. We're going to be looking at 3 activities. I've only got 2 on here, but we're going to look at 3. The third activity is this one, Intro into Google Drawings. But the first activity is utilizing Google Sheets, which is a spreadsheet application, and we're going to create a monthly finances spreadsheet. I'm going to show you how to use some cool little formulas in there that automatically calculate all the maths, and you can copy and paste that and use that month after month. And I use it, and I think it's really useful, especially for monitoring your finances and things like that. Then we're going to move on to a really cool little activity using Google Drawings. Now, this is a little application that Google offer where you can build up little drawings and diagrams and things like that that you can then incorporate it into different applications within Google Drive. So, for example, you could create a logo, and that's what we're going to be looking at doing. We're going to look at creating a little logo, and then we're going to create an invoice in Google Sheets and utilize the logo that we created in Google Drawings. Now, as you saw last week, when we go through the recap, you can see that the link between the files that we create using Google Drive is really useful, if you like, in as much as I haven't tested this, but I'm guessing an educated guess, because I've used similar techniques. But the idea is that we'll create a logo, we'll put it into Google Sheets, and then if you decide you want to tweak that logo, change the color or whatever it might be, that should automatically update in Google Sheets in your invoice. Okay, so I just want to demonstrate that link there, and it's really used to try and minimize the amount of work that you've done, really. I mean, I've worked in design for a few years, a good few years, and before the likes of Google Drive and that came out, your working processes were really lengthy, because you had to recreate your work. You had to recreate links, or you had to re-import links, or say, for example, if you're designing a flyer or a menu, you would import the logo, and then the logo might be updated, and then you have to go change the logo and then re-import it into the document, and it wasn't very fluid. Now, what we have here that Google Drive offers, that the automatic updates, is just absolutely fantastic, and it saves a lot of time. So we're going to look at 3 cool little activities, all right, and that Google Drawings one, I'm really excited to be showing you. Highlighted at the bottom here, we would like your opinions on where you would like we call it TNL, but the National Lottery courses. We would like your opinions on what courses you guys would like us to look at delivering. We've got a lot of resources, a lot of experience within Media Savvy, and any courses, like for example the storyboards course that we put on a few weeks ago, we can tailor make a course, providing that we've got that interest there, and we can push those out as well. So any ideas or anything like that, please let us know, and we'll look at putting those courses together for you. Now, one course I've got in mind, I like to play chess because I'm a little bit of a nerd, and I taught my partner how to play chess, and we've been playing it for about a year now, and she beats me hands down every time. So must have done something right, but she's much better than I am. I like doing that, and I thought one course idea could be maybe a 5-week course on teaching people how to play chess or something like that. Maybe get some guest speakers or guests on the show for us to have a little informal chat while we're playing. That was one of my ideas, which I was thinking about maybe developing over the next, say, month or so. If that's of interest to you, give me a shout. If it's not and you've got some other ideas, again, give us a shout on our live chat. All right, that's brilliant. So just checking our chat there to make sure that we haven't got anything going on that I need to be aware of. So that's today's outlook. Just a little recap now. So as we know, Google Drive is a cloud-based suite of programs that include Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides, and Gmail. We need to create an account within Google, which most of us do have now that use Android phones, for example, because we need to set up a Google account in order to download apps. Okay, so many of us should already have an account or a Gmail account set up. If not, it's very easy to set up. Again, you just you register your basic information, and you get an account, and it gives you access to these programs here. So the equivalent, say what Microsoft offer, for example, is Microsoft Word, which is Google's version is Google Docs. If I can go backwards a little bit, I might be able to show you something, a better way of describing this. Can I do this quickly or not? Here we go. Just quickly fast forward one of my previous slides to show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, so here we go. So Microsoft equivalent of Word is Documents. Their Microsoft version of Excel is Google Sheets. Microsoft Office equivalent of PowerPoint is Slides, and then we've got the email accounts there. All right, so that's what Google Drive is. Okay, it's a suite of packages, a suite of Office packages. So last session we used Google Documents. We talked about file management and how to create your own folders and files, how to upload your folders and files, different viewing settings. I'm going to try and demonstrate some kind of editing to our Google Sheets today after our break at about 2 o'clock. Haytham's volunteered 30 seconds of his time just to demonstrate some live editing on a document. The good thing about Google Documents is that many people can work on the same document at once. So I just want to demonstrate that to you guys as well. What else did we do last session? We looked at presets, okay, inserting tables, changing fonts, or the voice typing thing, which is really, really cool for getting that bulk text on digitized onto a document, and then the word count and things like that. All right, so that was what we did last week, and we created this cool little menu, didn't we? We created a very, very basic menu within Google Sheets. So we created a menu with starters, for example, for a restaurant, an Indian restaurant. We created starter 1 and then give it a price. Starter 2, we give that a price all the way to starter 3. And then we imported that table into our Google Documents menu that we created. The reason being was that with that link, if we decided we wanted to change those prices, we could update. It would automatically update the prices within our Google Documents menu. Another cool little thing that we did, if I could try and open the document here, I'll see if I can find it quickly to show you, because it's probably better I show you it than. Here we go. Here's the menu itself. So that was the first menu we created. See if I can find the other one. Let's have a quick look on my account. No. My drive. Just bear with me, guys. I'm just going to have a quick look here. Menu. I'm just going to see. So this is a really cool feature within Google Drive. This is the suite here. This is the window, and you've got a search bar at the top here. So I'm going to type in menu view and see what comes up. There we go. So this is a result from the web. Oh, here we go. What's going on here? I'm getting something from my phone. My phone's picked up some kind of voice activated thing. Right, one cool thing, or not cool thing, but one funny thing I found the other day actually was when I was listening to my YouTube, some music on YouTube, there was an advert in the middle of it, and it was demonstrating a Google application within a car, and that activated my Google Assistant on my phone, and it went all haywire. So there you go. Technology is good, but it's not as great as it can be at times. So this is a document that we created last week. We created the titles and subtitles using a thing called presets, whereby if we wanted to change these presets, if we wanted to change the headings or preset headings, we could change that quite easily, maybe putting an underline there, and then we can update that, and all of our headings in the document would change. So it's a very, very quick and easy way of changing the format of a document. You can change the background within the background color, which we did quite easily within the page setup there, and there's a page color that you can change. And then we created a table of contents as well, which is really cool. And then when we exported that, it gave us those links as well in the PDF that allowed us to navigate through a document quite easily. So that was a really cool little activity last week. It really was aimed to show you how the benefits of using such a document, such a program, word processing program, but also how quickly you can assemble something that looks quite professional. All right, so that was last week. Let's go back to today's session. So yeah, the link, if we link between different applications, i.e. docs and sheets, it just really does speed up our work, allowing us to do more work, working more efficiently, and probably reducing a lot of stress in the long run as well. So making maths easy is Google Sheets kind of headline for today, okay? And we're going to demonstrate that by creating a spreadsheet for our monthly finances. Now, the three things that we want to try and include in this activity, we want to include our income, our out, well, that would be outgoings, wouldn't it? Sorry, outgoings. We're going to create some formulas, and formulas, guys, are just it's just really a set way of the computer doing the maths for you. Okay, you type in a few little kind of captions or a few little terms within Google Sheets, and you're telling it to calculate certain things based on what you're telling it. Okay, and I'll explain that a lot better when we go into Google Sheets. So we're going to create some calculations, and we're going to use different tabs, and I'm going to point out what tabs are. Okay, we'll have a quick look at this website because I found this last week, which was quite good. It's a website from Money Dashboard, and it's talking about savings, because one thing I want to include in our sheet, Google Sheets, monthly finances sheet, is a little savings kind of column in there as well. Okay, so this Money Dashboard is a really cool website. It gives you some little advice, bits of advice, and the one thing that I clicked on when I was doing some research was trying to find out how much we could be looking at saving, providing we've got that money to save every month, and where we need to save, and why we need to save. And it's talking about retirement and pensions and paying off debt and emergency funds and things like that. So that's the reason why it's always handy to have a bit of savings put aside if we can manage it. And sometimes it's very difficult, and we can't. But this is a really good website, and the link is on our website. The link, is on our document here, on our sessions document, which is available on our live stream. So if you want to read a bit more about that, just click on that link and it'll take you to that website. All right. So the first thing that we need to do to create this, to create our document for our monthly finances, is to go into Google Drive. So once you've signed into Google Drive, this is what you're going to see. You're not going to see exactly these because these are different files that I've been working on, but you're going to see a section here which is going to be exactly the same, where it's My Drive, and if you click on that, that's all the files within your account. Different computers that are linked to that, files that are shared with me, and we looked at sharing files last week, recent documents, trash, things like that. Within this section here, these are the files, so these are the locations, these are the files. That search bar at the top is quite handy for when you forgot to put things in where you forgot where you've put things in your Google Drive. And the first thing that we need to click on to create our spreadsheet is New. If you click on that, click on Google Sheets, it's going to take you to a blank spreadsheet. Okay, and what we're going to do here at the top, this is the name of the file. We're going to call this monthly, or let's call it Google Drive session 2 monthly finances. All right, you can call it whatever you want, but that's what I'm going to call mine. So what is a spreadsheet, right? A spreadsheet really is a table. A table, as in, if we drew a table on a piece of paper, and you had, let's say, the winning football results, and you might have, let's have a look. Let's say football results. So this is Euro. I think this is a Euro Championship football fixtures. So if we go back, there you go. So you've got a table there. These are tables. These may or may not have been done in Google Sheets, but Google Sheets basically is a table where you can create calculations. Okay, so you might have a list of football matches and their results. Okay, so Netherlands versus France, Netherlands 2, France 1. Okay, or it could even be like weather, for example, in European. This might be a better way of explaining it. Let's have a look. or weather today. Let's see. So there's a weather today, okay, and there you go. Here's a table here. So you've got the time and the temperature. The time, temperature, time, temperature. Okay, so basically it's organizing information so we can easily see it, and it's usually to do with numbers. Okay, and that's what we're going to do today. And you'll see as we make this this monthly finances sheet, you'll see if you're not too sure still what Google Sheets is all about, you'll be able to see. Okay, this session will not take you through all the ins and outs, but as long as you get a grasp of what Google Sheets has to offer you, hopefully you'll be able to revisit this session again and go through it with a bit more knowledge. But also there's some links at the end of this session that have a bit more information on where to go for a bit more further reading or a bit more further learning. There's some great videos on YouTube, which I've got a link to one of them at the end of the presentation, and they will help you with a little bit further learning. Okay, so let's start. So we've got this grid, okay, and we've got a load of buttons at the top, and we've got a load of different like places and loads of different things up here. Down here we have a thing called tabs, okay, and this is at the minute we've got sheet 1, and that's one tab, but we can have as many tabs as we want. So what a tab is just basically a different sheet or a different set of tables, okay, and to add them you just click that little plus button and create them as along there like that. To remove them you can just click the little arrow and then you can move it left or right. You can duplicate them if it's got really good information in there, you just want to duplicate it and alter the numbers, you can. If you want to delete it you can just press delete. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our sheets 1 by clicking on it. We're going to change the name of it to, what are we in now? We're in June today. Not today, this month we're in June. So I'm going to put June. And then we're going to create July and August. Okay. And I'm going to do something now just to demonstrate something a little bit further down the line. July and August. All I've done there, guys, you can right click that little down arrow and click rename, or you can double click on the sheet, the number, the sheet name, and you can rename the things. So as you can see, it's highlighted the tab in green, and that's August. We're currently in August sheet. We want to be in June, so just click on June, and then we need to list some. Some outgoings for our monthly finances. Okay, so we generally have some rent to pay. What else do we have? We might have travel to and from work or courses, or see friends, whatever. We'll definitely need to pay for food. We might have some bills like electricity, council tax, gas, and then we might have a little bit of money left over for ourselves, going out maybe, or entertainment, and savings. That's something that we would like to put in, I would like to put in there today as well. Okay, so we've got a few there, and you can add as more down this column as you like. So the table is separated into columns, and what I've clicked, everything in blue is a column. So if you think about a column or a tower, that goes up and down, and then everything that goes from left to right, these are called rows, like seats, rows in a football ground or rows in a theatre. Okay, so next to rent, if we go to the next cell, and our cell is just a box, if we just click on that box, we can start typing. So let's think about what our rent would be like for a month. Let's say our rent is £500 a month. So what you want to do is click on that, double click in there until you get a little flashing line, and then just type in £500 our travel. Let's say we pay £100 for travel. And all I'm doing, guys, I made a little mistake there, and I wasn't going to mention it, but I think it's important that I do. On my keyboard, I won't probably be able to show you, but on my keyboard I've got numbers that go, see if I can bring up a keyboard to show you online. Laptop. Right. Oh, let's say keyboard. Right, if we look at this keyboard, okay, this is not the exact keyboard that I have, but as you can see, you've got your keys here and you've got your numbers at the top. But you also got some keyboards have numbers on the right hand side as well. Okay, and I was trying to type in the number using these numbers, but it wasn't typing in. And the reason why that sometimes happens is because if you look at this button here, which says num lock, sometimes my keyboard has a little light with it, so if you click on it, it lights up when it's on, but you have to press that button in to turn these numbers on, and that's what I didn't do before. Okay, so I was trying to type, and I'll do it now to demonstrate, and I couldn't because those numbers weren't active. Okay, but if I press that number lock on, I've turned it on now, I'll type in the numbers will turn up. Okay, so if that doesn't work with you, it might be your num lock, so just press that num lock button there. Food and travel. Oh, sorry, food. Sorry, we've done travel, £100. Food. How much do we pay for food? Let's say we pay, if we live by ourselves, perhaps we might pay £40 a week. That is £180 a month. 104, 8, 12, £160 a month for food. Electricity could be £50 maybe. I'm just guessing here. Council tax. See, I made a little mistake there. There's no space between the council and tax. If you click on that, go up to this bar here, click in between the L and the T, and you can just put a space bar in there. Okay. Council tax could be, I don't know, £90 maybe. Your gas could be, I don't know, I'm going to guess here, £40. Your entertainment, going out, now that the shops and everything are open, you might be going out for coffees or whatever. Let's say we've got £100 for that, and let's say we want to save. I'm going to leave that blank for a minute because I want to try and look at our income and see what is left and then save the rest. That's what I was going to try and aim at here. Now, one thing that we need to think about is this means nothing to us at the minute because it could be 500 stones, couldn't it, or 500, I don't know, leaves. So what we want to do is to try and make sure everything in this column has a value to it. Okay, and if you look at the top here, we've got dollar signs. Now in the UK we don't use dollars, so that's no good to us. We'll need to change that to pounds, but we want to do that for everything in this column because, you know, in 2 years time you might have a longer expenditure for the month, so we just want everything in there to be in a pound sign. So if you click the B, which is a column B, if you go to format here, or I'll show you two different ways of doing it. If you go to format and you move down, you'll get this little menu. If you click the number, or if you hover over the number and move your mouse over to the right hand side, oh, there we go, and then you can move all the way down to the bottom and it'll say British pound sterling, and that's what we want. Okay, if you live in a different country or you want to use different other currencies, you can click let's have a look. I'm not too sure how to do that. I'm not too sure. Let me have a quick look. I think it might have something to do with our document. spreadsheet settings. If you click on spreadsheet settings, calculations, general, United States, change that to United Kingdom. Okay, so I think if we go to our document spreadsheet settings, change our country. So let's say we're in Venezuela. Click save and reload. Can you see here now our currency has changed to, I don't know what Venezuelan currency is, but BSF. And if you click that, that'll change. That's how you change your currency. You go to File, you move all the way down to the bottom and click on the spreadsheet settings. Change your locale, which is your location, to your chosen location within the globe. I'm going to choose the United Kingdom. You click save and reload, and then that's going to change your currency here, format currency. If you go into format, go to number and change the currency, British pound sterling's there, the second way of doing it. Remember, we're selecting the entire column and just click on format as currency there. Okay, there we go. So all that's sorted. We've got our money in there, we've got our different things that might be going out every month. Let's give it a bit of a title now. So we want a title here that says June, and I'm going to say 2021, and then we're going to maybe give that a bold so it stands out a bit, and we're going to make it a little bit bigger, maybe not too big, maybe that size. Okay, what we can also do, let's make it a little bit bigger actually. Click on that, make that 30. Can you see now that text is too big for that box or cell? So what you can do is, if you click in between A and B, you can stretch that along until it fits. Okay, and that stretches the entire column. What I want to do now is add two little titles above our table here, but first I want to include another row here, because if I start typing, which I'll start typing actually, I'll type in outgoings, and then I'll put I'm just going to put a pound sign there, and I'm going to highlight these by clicking on that box, clicking on the next box along, holding down shift at the same time, and then clicking B to make that bold. And I'm going to, there's a little bit too much going on here, so what I want to do is insert another row. So we're going to click on row 2, right click on it, insert above, and that'll give us a bit more space there. Okay, let's insert another one. So there's two different things we can do now, two ways of totaling this up now, and I'm going to show you the one that you would typically see and the way I would normally do it. Okay, so let's type in total there, and let's give that a bold as well so that stands out a bit. And we can also, if we click on that and hold down shift and click on that, it allows you to select again more than one cell, and then you can give it a border. So let's give that a top line and a bottom line, and there you go. You can see that gives it those two cells, a line at the top and a line at the bottom. Now, years and years and years ago, before these great things called spreadsheets, what some people would do to calculate their finances or make sure they've got enough money for the month or whatever it is, they would use a calculator. These are basically calculators, and we don't need to work out this by using a calculator. We need to use something called a formula, which is a very easy thing to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it now, and it'll calculate all these. The beauty about using a formula is that will then set that cell to calculate whatever is in the list above it. So if we change the amount, let's say our rent is reduced or increased, or our food bill goes up a little bit or whatever, that will automatically change, which is absolutely fantastic. To do that, what we need to do is press the equal sign on our keyboard. The equal sign is here. If we look at our keyboard there, it is this button here, right next to your backspace. So if we click on equals, and then you can see there, this has come up here. Okay, there's averages and the sums. These are two suggestions based on what information is above it. Okay, if you click this one, it's the sum. Sum is like a total. So if we click on that, basically, if we look at it, it looks complicated, but it's not. Just look at the colored numbers and letters. So it says B. B stands for column B, and 5 means row 5. So if that was, just going to go back a minute. If I click on this, but this cell here, it is in the E column and in the 6th row. So that cell is E6. Okay, that one is still on the same row. That's still on the same row. It's still in 6, but it's F6. So that'll be F6. Okay, so let's go back to here. I'm going to press me equals, press sum, and as you can see, B5 is starting from B column 5 row, which is at 500, which is our rent, and it's taken it all the way down to B12, which is column B, all the way down to 12, which includes our savings, which we haven't put anything in at the minute. So if we press enter, enter being that button there, we press that, there you go, it automatically calculates our outgoings for that month. Okay, which is brilliant, isn't it? I'll get rid of this, don't need that. So just to demonstrate, if our rent, if we move houses or flats or whatever, and our rent goes up to £600, if you look at our total at the minute, when it was 500, it's £1,040. If we change that to 600, that's going to go up by £100. There it goes. There you go, 1,140. Okay, and you can do that with any of those. So that's really, really helpful. That. However, what I like to do, because our total is at the bottom here, to add more things into that list, you need to do it the same way we've done it before. Click on our row, the last row, right click on it and click insert above, and keep on doing that if we want to add rows. Okay, but if we do that quite a few times, I'll just do that and demonstrate now, we're going to lose our total. We're not going to lose it, but we're going to lose sight of our total, because our total ends up at the bottom. So what I like to do when we are when I'm doing my when I'm using spreadsheets to calculate things, what I like to do is I like to bring my total at the top so you can always see it. Okay, and it's just a little quirk, something that I like to do. You don't need to do it that way, but I think it's useful. So that's what we're going to do now. So that's one method, putting the total at the bottom, inserting your rows after if you need to, or just putting your total at the top, and then you can add them as you need them. But that's down to personal preference. Now what we need to do, we can insert a row there to give it a bit more space, or we can just click once, hold down and drag and select all of that table. We can just then move it. It comes up with this little hand here. Click with your left mouse button, move down a couple, and then you can move it. Okay, we can do the same with this. Click, drag, okay, and then that hand appears, move it up, and then it carries and moves and carries that little formula. Now if you click on any of these boxes, if you look up here into this bar, this is the value of that box. So the value of this box is £160. Click on food, the value is just the name or what's in that box. Okay, if you click on that, it doesn't tell you the total because we can see the total there. It tells you what is being used, what maths is being used to calculate that total. Okay, So that's where we are with that. Now let's have a look at our savings. But to calculate our savings, we need our income coming in. So let's create an income bar there. Now, if this is a bit too dry for you, a bit too boring, don't worry. We're not going to spend too much more time on this. We're going to have a break at about 2 o'clock, and we're going to move on to something a little bit more creative. Okay, I thought I'd put this in first, one, because it's probably a little bit more boring than the other two activities, and two, it is quite useful as well. So I thought we would get this out of the way first, and then we'll move on to the other two activities after our break at 2 o'clock. So let's include our income in here now, and let's say our income is £1,200. As you can see, that doesn't have its currency set to it at the minute. So what do we need to do? Click on our column E, or you can just click on that box there if that's what you want to do. I'm going to click the whole thing, press the pound button. There you go, £1,200. That's our income. So basically, what we need to do, and this is a really good way to demonstrate the usefulness of a spreadsheet, is we need to figure out what money we have left. Okay, and we're going to use a little bit more maths, and it's not as complicated as looking as that. It's very, very simple. So what I have left. So basically, it's just very basic maths. If you've got 1,200 quid coming in, that's your total spend for the month. All you need to do is take that figure away from that figure, and all you need to do is tell this cell to do that for you. Okay, so to do that, you always start off your formula or your instruction into Google Sheets with an equal sign. The equal sign, guys, is this button here. If you just press that in here, equals, click that cell, click the minus button, which looks like that next to it, click that and click enter. As you can see, it says there E2, which is E column 2 row, which is this one, the orange. And to help you, Google Sheets have this cool little color coordinated thing, so it's give you an orange dot around there, and that's E2. B4, which is the purple cell, which is that one. Press enter, and there you go. It tells you how much money you've got left. You've got 60 quid left. All right. So that is really useful, and the best thing about it is your income could change. If your income goes up, let's say you get a pay rise to 1,500 quid, can you see what you have left has changed? And that's why it's really important to use those automatic kind of automatic formulas in there, and not just type the numbers in, because if you type the numbers in, you have to calculate it all yourself. And the great thing about having a system like this is you don't need to calculate things yourself. Okay, you can just let the computer do the work for you. Let's take that back down to 1,200 quid. As you can see, what's left is dropped. And then let's say we want to save that. Okay, so we're going to create another little instruction into the sheet. We're going to click in our savings, we're going to click equals, and we're going to equal that cell, our savings, equals £60, and I'm going to press that. And then it's got this reference button here. What that means, let's have a look. I've done something wrong. I'm going to click undo. Equals that reference. Okay, so this really should be straightforward, and I'm not sure why it's this has happened, but let's have a read of the instruction that Google gave us and see if we can resolve this issue. Okay, so it's give us an error. Circular dependency detected. To resolve this interactive calculation, see File, Spreadsheet Settings. File, Spreadsheet Settings. calculation maybe. Interactive calculation determines whether formulas with circular references. I do not know what a circular reference is, but let's just follow the instructions. Are resolved by interactive calculations. Now, I don't want to learn more. It sounds pretty straightforward to me. Basically, what it's saying is, if we go on to there, it's saying to resolve interactive calculation, right? So it sounds like gobbledygook, but let's just see what we can do. If we go to calculation, that's an interactive calculation and it's currently off. So my first thing that I would do is turn it on and see what happens, okay? I don't know what all these are, and I don't claim to be a master in this. I'm probably a jack of all trades, but I'm just figuring it out while live on this session now. So let's see if that makes any difference. There it does. Okay, so I didn't need to be a brain surgeon to figure that one out. I just needed to kind of follow the instructions and give it a go. If it didn't work, then I would have probably had to go into I would have probably had to go into the learn more about the interactive calculations. Another great thing I like to use is YouTube if I get stuck, but let's resolve that. So if you have the same problem and it comes up with ref, you want to go to file, you want to go to spreadsheet settings, go to calculations, and then you want to change your interactive calculation to on, from off to on. Okay, move down, move your box up so you can see save settings and click save settings and it'll sort that out for you. Right, what's happened here? So this is all changed now, isn't it? Let's undo that again. I'm not too sure what's happened here. Let's have a look. So it changed when we've turned it off again. Let's turn it back on. I don't know what's happened there. Press enter. Okay, got a little bit of an issue here, but let's just sort it out. I'm going to equals, and we want sum. That was there. And we want it. This is right. Let me go back a little bit and just show you. Right. Okay. So remember when we had our title at the bottom, a total at the bottom, and it automatically suggested what formula we might need to use to calculate these. Well, because I've moved these to the top, it's not going to do that. So we need to type it in ourselves. So if you click in equals, and it's the sum, so you're going to type in SUM, and you're going to put a bracket, which is that one there, number 9. If you press shift and that, shift and 9, okay, and then you're going to click that X and you're going to click that and you're going to drag all the way down to there, and then you're going to press enter, and then we have some issues going on. Let's delete that. There we go. So I really don't know what happened there. It had something to do with that interactive calculation, but all I did was go back a couple of steps to try and solve that problem. So that's working now. We've got our total's working fine. Our income is what it is. You just type that in, and what you have left, that is working fine. E2, which is that, your income minus your outgoings equals 60 quid. Let's input that again. For our savings, it's going to be the £60 that we've got left, equals 60, enter. That's not working. Okay. Why isn't that working? Equals that. Okay, enter. Okay, so for some reason, let's delete that. Let's delete that. Let's start again. Equals that. Subtract that equals that. And we want that equal that. Okay, I'm not too sure why that's not working. It was working originally, so let's go back a few. Here we go. So this is where we were at with our original issue. If you look at these buttons up here, guys, we got undo and restart. What I did was I pressed undo several times until we got back. If we go back one more time, that is working now. Okay. And then we put our little, we had our issue after that, which was this reference. When we went into file, when we went into spreadsheet settings, calculations, and return that interaction on, save those settings. No, that didn't work. Okay, this is quite annoying. Let's go back again. Let's take it back, all the way back to this. So our total is working fine, our income is fine, and that's what we've got left. And we want this saving cell to equal what we have left, which should be that. I've clicked on the wrong one, so we change that 2 to a 3. File, spreadsheet settings, calculation on. The maximum number of calculations to perform during the interactive. Let's change that number to 5. See if that does anything. Right. So what I think was happening there, guys, is that this sheet, this cell, was relying on a few different calculations. There's a few calculations happening within this sheet. We had our income and our total out. Well, first of all, we had our total outgoings here. Then from that, we wanted to see what we had left. So we put an income column in, income piece in there. We just typed that in, and then we wanted to work out what we had left between our income and our outgoings. Okay. So we wanted to do that. Income, subtract our total outgoings, which would leave us with £360. Okay, so that's the second calculation, and then we had another calculation here that impacts our total outgoings. I see what is going on, right? And this is pretty. This is one thing that sometimes if you get stuck, it's good to talk out loud. So what's happening is we've got our total outgoings, which includes our savings, but that savings is it had so that included the savings, but then we wanted to figure out what we had left. Now what we had left was part of our savings, so what we need to do is we need to move our savings over to that. Now that should sort everything out now. So we've got our income, we've got our total outgoings, we've got what we have left, and that's our savings. Happy days. 2 o'clock, and just solved that problem. Right, that's great. So sorry for that little hitch there, but if you move your savings over out of the way of this total calculation, that's where you'll have and move it underneath what you have left. That'll sort that out. Now what I'm going to do now, just before we break, I'm going to move our savings down. I'm going to put a little emergency field in there. So what I don't want us to do in this scenario is I don't want us to save everything. So I want to have £100 for emergencies. Let's say your cooker broke or something like that. So I want to have £100 in our emergency fund. Okay, I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to say now I want to save whatever's left. I'm going to move our emergency over to here, move our savings back up. I'm going to say, right, so what you have left is your total outgoings has gone up by £100 because we put an emergency fund in there, and what we have left is less by £100. We press equals, our savings equals that. There we go. Right, so we're going to wrap up in a few minutes. I'm just going to quickly give you a quick recap, and then we're going to break, and then we're going to do something a little bit more exciting afterwards. So what we've done here, guys, is we've created a basic table. Okay, we had a couple of little issues that we resolved, and if you play it back, you'll come up against that issue, and you'll see it for yourselves, and you'll see how we've overcome it. Okay, there's a couple of different methods we used, and then as I was talking the problem out, I realized what the problem was, and that's probably a useful way of sometimes highlighting where you've gone wrong. So basically what we've got is a spreadsheet. We've got some tabs here for different months. We've titled our first sheet with June 2021. We've given it a total at the top, and we listed all of our outgoings for that month, and we've put a figure next to it. Then we've took our income, which we've just typed in. This is just fictitious kind of pretend kind of figures. We've got an income, and it was originally £1,200, and then we made up the fact that we got to pay a rise. Now, as you can see, when I've dropped that down to 1,200 again, it isn't. We're gonna be overspending by £40. So if we reduce that to £60, choose that to say our emergency fund to £30. There you go. We can save £30. Okay, and then we've got our income. We've got what we have left, and we're going to save what we have left. So that's it. So we've done a lot of work to this sheet. We are not going to do exactly the same in this sheet for July or August. Okay, because that's what you could do. You could do exactly the same. You could copy that across. You don't need to do that, guys. All we need to do is, I'm going to delete these, delete that. What we're going to do is just duplicate this, and that'll just copy everything in this sheet and bring it over to a new sheet. And there you can see copy of, and all we do is change that to June to July. It won't allow you to call it June because it needs to have a different title. There's July, and then just make sure you change the title to July the 1st, maybe. There you go, and then that'll change. Okay, and then let's say your food might go up by £20, and then that is different to that. Okay, so that's where we are. So guys, what we're going to do next half of the session, which is a little bit more interesting, got the boring bit out of the way, we're going to look at creating a logo, and it's going to look a little bit like this. We're going to create a logo for a business, an upcycling business. Upcycling business being a business that takes old furniture or old bits of old items and gives them a new lease of life, paints them, things like that, and then sells them on. So that's a business that we're going to do a little logo for, and we're going to do that in Google Drawings. We're going to then use that logo to create our own invoice in Google Sheets. Okay, so we're going to create a new document here, and we're going to create an invoice. Okay, and then we're going to link those two. So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to have a little break for 10 minutes, come back at 2:15, and then we're going to go back into that, back into Google Sheets and Google Drawings, and I'm going to show you how to create something very, very quickly and easily like this, and create your own little logo that you can then use for maybe your menus or your flyers or your invoices or anything like that. All right. So if you start a business, this will probably be right up your street. So if you come back at 2:15, we will go further into this. And if you've got any questions, give us a shout on our live chat. All right. Okay. I'll see you at 2:15, guys. Alright guys, welcome back to our second session of Google Intro into Google Drive. Okay, in the first half of the session we had a good recap on our previous on what we did previous week, which was Google Documents, and then we looked at creating a spreadsheet for our monthly finances using Google Sheets. Okay, and we created this this sheet here. We created a monthly finances sheet that give us a little list of all the things that go out every month, a total of all of that using a formula, and then we had we put in our income, which all this is just made up, and then we calculated what we had left by minusing our total outgoings to our let's change that to total outgoings. What we had left was our our income minus our total outgoings would give us 30 quid left, and then we decided we wanted to save what was left and put that in a little savings pot, and that's what we had in our June sheet. And then just before we had a little break, I showed you how to duplicate that that tab, this sheet, and we created July by just pressing the little arrow, click duplicate, and then we created this, and then we just changed, so we copied everything from there and made it into a new one, and then we just changed the name of the tab and then the name in the actual spreadsheet. Okay, and then you can edit that as you like. I've just made that link available on our live stream in our description. So files for today's session, monthly finances, and there's a link for that there, so you can have access to that. So what we're going to move on to now is we're going to move on to creating a little logo for a business. Okay, a little made up business, a little furniture upcycling business. Okay, and we're going to create a logo using Google Drawings. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to close this. We don't need this at the minute. We don't need it anymore, I don't think. Close it in the menu because we don't need that. And we're going to create something that looks like this. I'm going to show you how I created these using basic shapes. But first of all, what I want to do is I want to show you how we share files. Okay, this is one of the most powerful things within Google Drive, is the sharing capacity. And I'm going to share this with Haytham now. To do that, we click the little share button in the top right hand corner, and then if you type in let's have a look, share that. I'm going to share that with Haytham. I'm going to say, here you go, Haytham. Can you comment, please? Cheers, Leon. Okay, and now if you look, so basically it's creating a little message, little email if you like. You're going to put a message there, that's who it's going to, and that's what it is, the upcycling logo. And then on the right hand side you've got different options: viewer, commenter, editor. We're going to do commenter first just to demonstrate how that works, and then we're going to do editor. Okay, so I'm going to click on that, click send. There's a little bit of a delay in the YouTube kind of playing of this stream, but I think it's about 20 seconds. So Haytham will get that now instantly. There it says there, persons added, and then he's going to add some comments to this document, and in about 10-15 seconds time, he's going to open that document, and he's going to start. There we go. There's that link there, and he's going to start putting a comment in here, and we'll watch that happen in a few seconds. That should start happening. Okay. Now how I made these, while we're waiting for Haytham to start typing on here, how I made this was just basic shapes. Okay, now this is Google Drawings, and it looks very similar to the other the other programs that we're using within Google Drive. However, instead of Spreadsheet that we did in the first half of the session, it's just basically a blank page. Okay, and in this blank page we can add shapes. If we click on this button here, here we go. Let's have a look. Looks as though Haytham is actually updating it now. There you go. Hi mate, have you tried adding different colors? So that's what Haytham's added there now. You know, he's added a comment to this document. Okay, so we're gonna click mark as resolved or hide the discussion, or we can have more options. We can link this comment or we can leave the comment. Okay, so I'm gonna tick that to say that we resolved that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the share, and I'm going to try and I'm going to share this. And can you see at the minute it's got Haytham or Media Savvy Media Savvy shared account, the shared Gmail account. That's what Haytham is operating at the minute, and he has only got a commenter's facility to this document. So that means he can only add comments, he can't make any changes. Now if we wanted him to have changes, then he would need to become an editor. Okay, so if we click editor, click save, those changes should happen now. And Haytham should then start their permissions updated. In a few seconds time, Haytham should then start updating this, maybe changing a few colors. Okay, the great thing about this and other documents within Google Drive is that there you go, there's Haytham changing that there. I'm not doing anything, look, no hands. Okay, so he's changed the color there, maybe he's changed the color there, he's just highlighting the text and then changing the color. Okay, so the great thing about that is Haytham can do that, I can be doing this, and we can be working on that one document at the same time, and it's automatically getting updated. So that's absolutely perfect, isn't it? Like, you don't have that and let's say, okay Haytham, you can stop now. Let's see what I'm putting. There you go. So, and he's adding a few more changes to it there. I just sent him a little message now. Maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't. Oh, that's it. So that's Lisa's putting a comment in there as well. Or is that maybe have one cabinet scuff, one half gleaming? Okay, so there's some more comments coming through as well. So that's brilliant. Okay, so we'll just tick them. That's just to demonstrate the share facility within Google Drive, and that is in Google Drawings. Okay, so what we are going to do now, I'm going to go all the way back, undo all those changes that I've done, but as you can see, there you go, all good. He's put a little comment there now, and that undoes all the changes that I've done, but it doesn't undo the changes that Haytham has done, because that's on his computer. So I'm going to put these, I'm going to leave these now. I'm going to select all these, I'm going to move them to one side, and I'm going to keep them there because we might need them for later, but I'm going to show you how I created these sets of drawers, and then we're going to create our own very own logo. Okay, so to do that, what I did, I click this button here, which is a shapes button. Now you can import lots of different things, or bring in lots of, you can import, bring in lots of different things, or you can use different tools within Google Drawings. To access Google Drawings, by the way, you click New, you click More at the bottom, and there's Google Drawings there, and you just click that. I've already got mine open, so I'm not going to bother. And then you would have something that looks like this without these drawings in there, obviously. And then you would just change the name as normal. Okay. So I'm going to recreate this. So if you click on the shapes and click over here, you've got loads and loads of different shapes. And I just created these by using the square, I think it was, or the rectangular tool. So I created a square. And to copy a square, if you hold down the shift button, which is the control button, sorry, which is that button there. If you hold that down and you click, if you just hold that down, hover over your rectangle, it allows you to create a duplicate or a copy. There you go. And then you can stretch this, maybe move it in a little bit. And then you can create another copy by holding control again, bringing it back over that, and then just making it smaller to create the inner sets of the drawers. And then what we're going to do is make that down a little bit more, maybe move this up a little bit more, and it automatically snaps to different sections, which is quite useful as well. Now what you might want to do also is, let's say you wanted that to split the difference between, for that gap there, so it appears over here. So you want to align these two shapes in the middle. So if you click on them by clicking that one, then clicking this one, right clicking and click align horizontally and center, that will then align those two shapes in the horizontal. Okay, you might want to do that for the on the vertical as well, and then there, bang in the middle. So what we want to do now is we want to create another, our first set of drawers, if you like. So I'm going to click that shape, click Control, and just drag that over there. In fact, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Drag it back into position. Drag another one. Control, remember to duplicate. And then another one. Okay, and then I'm going to click that. Holding down Shift, click that one. Holding down Shift, click that one. I'm going to stretch them to the middle bit, to that bottom line. Okay. Now to zoom in, guys, I just learnt this the other day. If you press Control, which is the duplicate button, which is that one, and then if you press Alt, which is that one, Control, Alt, and plus, you can zoom in a little bit, and you can see we're just not quite right there. So if I move up and then move back down, it should, there we go, should look a little bit better. Now what we need to do now is, I'm going to zoom out again, Control and Alt minus on your keyboard. I'm going to create the little handles. I'm just going to use a circle, so click on the shapes again, circle, there we go, and there's our circle. So all I did there was shapes, circle, and you can either click with your mouse or you can click and drag. I'm clicking and dragging, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, Control, Alt, and plus, and move that handle over to here. I'm going to duplicate that circle and bring it over here. And then what you can do is, if you click them both, click that one, hold down Shift, click that one. If you right click, you can group them, so you can move them at once at the same time. Hold down Control to duplicate. There you go, and you can drag them. Now you can see we're gradually building up our drawers. Oh, what's going on here? Okay, got a little problem here, so I'm going to copy that by pressing Control and C. and then I'm going to go back once, so that appears there. Remember, we copied those two circles from the bottom one, so if we press Control and V, that should appear there. And then if we just move these into position, it snaps to the center, and there we are. Zoom out a little bit just to see where we are. That looks alright. Maybe that's a little bit too big, so I'm going to drop that down a bit. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to group all the middle bit and leave the top, and then I'm going to centralize it all. So I'm going to click, hold and drag on my mouse, right click and group, and then I'm going to select the whole thing. We've got two items now. We've got this bit here and then we've got that. So I'm going to centralize the two on the horizontal center, and that's in the middle. I'm going to create these little legs shape, and then just look at, see if there's something similar we could use, and I think I used that one last time, but you can use whatever you like. Let's use this one instead this time. This one looks a little bit better, and make a nice long leg for the drawers. There we go. Now I'm going to put this in a media savvy color, so I'm going to select the whole lot, and here's our colors here, our fill colors. I'm going to click that, and I want to put that as white, and I'm going to change the line to the media savvy color, which is that one there, and I'm going to change the thickness, so that's a border color. Now I'm going to change the border weight to say a 4, and there we have it. Okay, looks a little bit better than that one, I think. Might make the legs a little bit shorter. So it's an upcycling business, isn't it? So that's why I put these little kind of asterisks to show that it was like.
There you go. It should pop back up now.
Okay, brilliant. Yes. Alright guys, apologise for that. We had a little drop in our internet connection, and as you can see, actually, when that happened, we lost our connection to our document. Now that is a live problem that happened for us, and that's what can happen if you have a dodgy internet connection if you're using your documents within Google Drive. Luckily, your files, they save every time you make a change, so that shouldn't be an issue. But if you did have an internet connection issue, that would kind of affect how you can access your files. Alright, but we're back on, and I just apologize for that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create this logo, and to do that, we're going to create this logo is going to be for an upcycling company, and we're going to try and make these set of drawers that we've just made a little bit more tatty looking. I'm going to do that by using the hashtag button. So hold down Shift. Let's just go back a little bit because I'm going a bit too quick. Press the text box button, draw your little text box, hold down Shift and hashtag, or just hashtag, sorry, you don't need to hold down Shift. And then you can just change that size to maybe 60, and then let's give it a color if you like, the same color as that, and then just position that, maybe give it an angle, slight angle, that looks as though it's quite tatty. And then we're just going to duplicate a few of these, angle them a bit differently, like that. Maybe have another one here that's a little bit smaller, say 40, and then just do one more and maybe make that 50. There you go. So there's a tatty looking bit of furniture. We're going to group all that by selecting it all, right clicking, press group, and then what I'll probably do is, I don't know why, but I feel as though I want to put a circle behind it. So let's put a circle here, and let's make it transparent. Let's give it a nice big thick line, and let's give it a nice big meaty savvy pink. And then the group behind it, what we can do, as you can see in a minute, I'll change this color just to demonstrate. This circle is on top of that group that we've created. If we want to change that, we just click on the group, right click, change the order and bring that to front, and there you go, it's in front of the circle now. I'm going to put the circle back to pink. I'm going to move it into the middle. I'm going to select that group, right click, and I'm going to center that horizontally, and I'm going to center it vertically as well. It's not really where I need it to be, so I'm going to manually center it. I'm going to make the circle a little bit smaller, like that. You can use the arrows to kind of tweak it slightly. And I'm going to make the line weight a bit bigger. Okay, so we're going to go from, so this next logo, so that's the logo, isn't it? So we don't really want to show a tatty bit of furniture because that's not really showing anybody anything. So what we want to do is maybe say we're going from that to a nice bit of furniture. So let's ungroup this. And get rid of all these hashtags first of all. So automatically that looks a little bit better. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, a bit like I've done here, add some stars to it, okay? So if we go back into our shapes, and if we go to call out, I was looking for stars in the shapes button, the shapes section, but there isn't. But if we go to call out, stars there, and we can create some stars. Again, it's going to go meaty savvy pink, stay within brand, and then I'm going to put some stars on there, give it a bit of a rotation, change that, move that over, rotate that around a bit, maybe make that a bit bigger, and maybe there. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one look a bit more boring, so I'm going to make it, oh no, not that one, I'm going to make it grey, and I'm going to make the hashtags grey as well by selecting them. If you just double click in your group, click the selection, and I'm going to change that to grey. So there we have it. We've developed quite a nice little logo. I'm going to select this new one. As you can see, I'm selecting part of that group, so it's selecting the other group as well. So I'm going to click on the group that I don't want, leaving what I do want, right click on that. I'm going to group that, and then what I'll do is I might put a little arrow here that kind of, will that do it? Not too sure. No, that arrow won't do it. But if we go into our shapes and look at arrows, maybe this arrow will do what we want it to do, what I want it to do. And what we're going to try and show is we're going from there, from that tatty bit of furniture to this. Take the line off, and there we go, and that's the logo that we're going to have. Okay, I'm going to get, well, we definitely need a title. I've just seen Haytham's title there. Put a title on there maybe, so text box there, up, cycle, LTD, and then let's make the text a little bit bigger, say 40 maybe, that'll do. Change it to something a bit more interesting. That looks good. Make it bold. Make it another 70, let's say there, that looks good. And then let's give it a meaty savvy pink. Oh, it looks quite complex that, but I think it looks alright. Probably a few more tweaks and then it'll look quite nice. And let's center that maybe. That looks better. Right, so there, we've created our logo. I'm going to get rid of this because we don't need this anymore. And there we go. We've created our own little logo there, right? That's automatically saved as we are building it, so that's great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this logo and create our invoice. So we're creating an invoice in Google Sheets. If we, I'm just going to quickly check, make sure everyone's all right there. Okay, if we go into Google Drive, click the new button, click Sheets, from blank document or blank spreadsheet, it'll create this spreadsheet like you're familiar with now. Okay, we're going to call this invoice, we're going to call it upcycling, invoice, and then we're going to insert our drawing. Okay, so we click insert drawing, and then we're going to go and find our drawing if we can. Let's go back a minute. Insert image, insert drawing, insert chart form. Okay, let's have a look at this. Right. So if we go into, let's create a new Google Docs document, blank document, and we're going to insert the drawing now from Google Drive. This is what I was hoping we could do in spreadsheets. I'm not too sure whether we can, but let's try it in the documents first. And we're going to link it like we did last week, and there's our logo. Okay, now that's been linked, we can resize that image, and that's that position there. So if we go into our logo and change that color to a green, for example, if we go into here, click on that, we should be able to update this document. Linked objects. Okay, what we need to do here is click on the document, or click on the image that was brought in, and then you can click update, or you can click here and linked objects, and it brings up this little box up here, and then if you just click update, there you go, it's updated that logo for you. Okay, so if you had this logo like we did have a recurring image in our menu like we did last week, if we had that on every page, all you would need to do is update that. Now coming back to our invoice, I was hoping we could do exactly the same thing here. Let's have a look. From Google Drive, intro to Google Drive, recent maybe, shared with me. Okay, can't seem to find how we can do that in Google Sheets. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause that for now. We know we can do it in Google Docs, which is fine. There's got to be a way we can do that in here. So one last quick try. Right, okay. I thought we could do that in Google Sheets, and it doesn't. Insert link. No, it's definitely not. It doesn't look as though it's going to allow us to do that for some reason. So that's my bad. But we can sort that out in a minute. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue with our invoice, and our invoice is going to look a bit like. Going to look a bit like invoice. A bit like this. Okay, so we're going to have a description of our item here. We're going to have a list of our items that we're selling, the quantity, how much they are, and the total cost. And then we're going to do a little bit more quick maths for to calculate the percentage of VAT. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know what VAT is just a tax that we all pay. All goes to the government for government spending. Okay, so businesses need to calculate that in order to figure out how much they're charging, or some businesses do. Okay, and that's what we're going to do here. So if we quickly look at this activity, we've designed our logo, which we've done. What we're going to do now is we're going to input an item into Google Sheets, put its quantity, its price, its amount, and then we're going to work out the total subtotal and then the total with the 20%. Okay. If we go on here, if you're using this retrospectively, there's a really good website here that I found. It's got a link on it there. You can have a look, and it's just can't be. There you go, and it shows you, tells you the differences between what the different amounts are. But this is what our invoice is going to look like. Okay, so if we go into here, the maths is basically really simple. We've got a number of items, so let's say we're selling chairs. We've got 3 chairs. Times that by how much each of them cost, and that's how much the total amount is. Okay. Let's say we'll say we're selling tables as well. We've got 2 tables, 20 quid each, 40 quid. Okay. We move that up a little bit. The subtotal is the total of the total costs of each item. So you've got 3 chairs for 30 quid, 2 tables for 40 quid. Total is £70. Okay, that is a subtotal. Now the VAT, value added tax, is what is a percentage of our total or our subtotal cost. So our subtotal cost is £70, and we need to find 20% of that. Okay, we don't need to find 20%. We're just going to tell Google Sheets to sort that out for us. Okay, and then the total is going to be added to that amount, and that's how much we charge our customer. Okay, so got about 10 minutes left of this session. I'll quickly show you how we create our invoice in here, and then for next session I'll look into the reason why we can't put that logo in. I can show you a really quick way of putting the logo in now, by going File. We can download that as a PNG file, and it's downloading that logo for us, and then we can put that in Insert Image and then we'll find on our computer, if we can find it, in our downloads, the logo that we've just downloaded. It's going to upload that logo and it's going to put it in there. Okay, insert, put it in really small, so I'm going to put it in over the cells this time. There's the logo, insert, there we go, and there's our logo. Okay, so but the problem is, this is an image that we downloaded from our drawing. We've downloaded a copy of that onto our computer, and then we've uploaded that image onto our sheets. What we are trying to aim for is creating a link between this document and that document and this document, so that whenever we make changes to this updates as well. But for the time being, we have our logo in, and I'll figure out that for you guys next week. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our items in our invoice. We're going to give it a title, aren't we? We're going to call it, we'll just call it invoice. We're going to have an invoice date. We're going to have items. We're going to have quantities. What else? We're going to have amount or price, and that's the price of the individual price. And then we've got amount. Okay, and then we've got chairs. How many chairs did we have? We had 3 chairs. So we're going to put 3 in there. How much was how much was the cost for each chair? The cost was can't remember. £10 a chair. Okay, so if we put £10 in there, and remember, guys, if we click that and change this to spreadsheet settings and change that to the United Kingdom and update, and we assign a monetary value to that, that's going to update. And then we want to calculate, we've got 3 chairs at £10 each, so that should be £30. 3 times 10 is £30, but we want to do the computer to do that, because that's quite easy maths for most people, but if that was a more complicated number, it might not be. So we want to equals, we're going to press that button there, so that's the price, and we want to times it. Now times on a keyboard is this little star here, or the asterisk. So you want to press shift, which is that, and 8, and that will give you the asterisk. And then you want to times it by the amount or the quantity of chairs, and then press enter, and there's your £30. It's going to make them a little bit bigger, a bit bolder. And then we have got tables. We had 2 tables, I think they were £20 each. That's automatically put a pound sign there because I've put the C column as a currency. And what we can do is we don't need to type in that formula anymore. All we do is click on the cell that we want to copy it from, and we're going to drag it down here. And then what that's done is it's recognized that you're going to use that same formula but for these numbers instead of these numbers, and it's already automatically calculated it for you. Okay, so the next bit is our subtotal. So we need to put a subtotal in there, and we can do that by, I'll leave a little space in case we want to add some more things in there, but we're going to type in subtotal, make that bold, and we're going to put it under here, and then that is going to be equals that plus, so it's going to be shift and this button here, plus, shift and plus that, and then enter, and that's £70. So this is where we get slightly bit more complex. We want to find 20% of that £70. So to do that, we want to write VAT in there because that's what it is. and we're going to try and work this out. We'll try and get the computer to work this out for us. Our subtotal, our total of our sales subtotal is the 3 chairs at 30 quid, 2 chairs at £40, which is a subtotal of 70, and we want to try and find 20% of that. So I'm going to just type in that so we know that that's what we're trying to find. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say equals that multiplied, remember, shift asterisk, which is multiply in computer world, and I'm going to put 20%, which is percentage keyboard key is 5, so you press shift and 5 at the same time, and then press enter, and there's your £14. Okay, so that's 20% of that. So what we want to do now is to find our actual total, which is those two figures together. So our subtotal plus our VAT, which is 20%, and the total is, I'm going to make that a little bit bigger because this is going to be the actual total now, equals, again it's very simple maths, that cell plus that cell, enter, and that's our total. 18, I'm going to give that an 18 as well, font size, and that's our total. So there you can see very quickly and easily we've created our own invoice. Now the beauty about this, guys, is that could be, we can rename this and we can call this sale to, I don't know, cafe, and then we'll give it a date. So the date is the 3rd of the 6th 2021, and this could be a sheet that is your invoices for the whole year. Okay, and you can use this as a base like you did for your monthly expenditure. You can copy it, so go that, duplicate, you would change the name, who the invoice is to, the date, and then let's say, right, you're not selling 3 chairs now. Actually, we'll change the copy to sale to cafe restaurant now. Restaurant. And then we're going to sell 30 chairs. Now look what happens when I press enter. I'm going to sell 30 chairs. Look what happens to me amount, total, me subtotal, me VAT, and me actual total. I'm going to put 30 chairs in, enter. There you go. There's all that math sorted for you. So the total has gone up by 10, or 10 more, by been multiplied by 10. The subtotal has obviously gone up, the VAT has increased, and the total's increased. So that all that maths has already been sorted now, isn't it? And it just makes things so much quicker when you're creating your invoices. Okay, and then you could do that time and time again for each invoice, and that could be, you could title this 2021 upcycling invoices now. So if you wanted to send this to your accountant, for example, all your invoices would be in that one document, and they would all be really easily calculated and accurate as well, more to the point. So that's how you would create an invoice using Google Sheets. Now, apologies for before about not being able to create that link. I presumed, and this is one thing that you should never do, I presumed because you could do it in Google Docs, you should be able to do it in Sheets. It doesn't look as though it's a case on initial inspection, but I'm going to do a bit more research now and find out why that isn't the case. One workaround of this, guys, is that you could do your invoices in Google Documents, but link that that spreadsheet to your documents instead, and that would update the logo. But to be fair, for the ease of just pasting in a new logo, I think that would just it would be easier to do it in here. But there's different ways you can work around that, and I'll look into seeing if there's a more official way of sorting that out for next week. So that's where we are with today's session. We've done quite a lot of work this session, haven't we? We've done 3 activities. We've done one activity where we've created our monthly finances. There's a link there to about saving on our presentation if you are interested in that. Then we moved on to creating a logo using Google Drawings, and then we tried to create a link between Google Drawings and Google Sheets, and that didn't quite work, and that's fine because sometimes things don't work and we just need to try and figure them out, and that's what I'm going to do for you guys next week. All right, after that activity, then we created an invoice by bringing in that logo, and we did bring it in, but we just done it a different way. And then we wanted to include the item, quantities, price, amount, subtotals, and calculated VAT from our pretend sales, and that's how you would create an invoice in Google Sheets. There's a bit more information about VAT here, up-to-date information from the BBC about VAT. If you're interested in that, there's a little link to it there, and that's how we created our maths. That's how we worked out our maths. So we basically, as long as you understand the concept of what you're doing in Google Sheets, you don't need to know the maths. You don't need to know whether it's you need to have an idea on whether the numbers are right, but you don't need to know about the formulas as such. You just need to know what you're doing. So you know here where it's got chairs, for example, you know you've got 30 chairs and each chair costs £10, so you know you need to times the number of chairs by the price of each chair, and that will equal the total, well, the amount for that. So as long as you know that, it's very easy. You start all your formulas with an equals. You want to multiply that, so you start with that, you press your multiply button, which is Control Start, and then you want to multiply by that, so you just click that cell and press enter, and there you go, and that's your figure. And it doesn't need to be multiplied, it could be divide, plus or minus, depending on what that figure is that you're working out. Okay, so that is the invoice, and we've covered quite a lot of ground this week, so that's brilliant. One thing I want to show you before we leave for the day, I want to show you a few things I found online. Two things are quite cool. Google Documents. We've got cheat sheets on Google Documents, yes, but there's some more links here to different more information about different things within Google Documents, okay, and within the Google Drive setup. Okay, so that's there. We've got we should have let's have a quick look here. Let's go back a minute. So that was Google Sheets for beginners. Oh, let's go back for a minute. There's also, I did find a really cool YouTube video. Google Sheets. That link doesn't seem to be working, so I'm just going to quickly, for beginners, just going to quickly find that for you guys. There's a cool little tutorial for you.
If you're new,
I'm just going to update that link in this document. So that's now available for you guys if you want to see that video. We do have a section on functions and formulas. So if you're really interested in your data and really interested in what other things Google Sheets can calculate for you, there's a list of them here and some descriptions, and there's a lot more information there. I don't use half of this, but not even, I don't even use 1% of this, but as you can see, there's loads and loads there. So if you're interested in any of this, it's all there for you. If you want a bit more information, or if you want it explained in a different way, I would definitely recommend YouTube, because some people can explain things a lot better than picking up and reading it, or vice versa. Some people prefer to read, so there's two different methods there for you. I found some free online courses through the National Careers Service. Okay, so some free courses here, and there's free providers here. So if you check out these guys, if you're looking for some free learning, these guys here offer some free learning for you guys. Have a quick look at that if you're interested. There's some maths courses here, and there's some English courses, and then some IT courses as well. What else is there? One last thing, a little bit that will probably lean towards me a bit more, because I'm interested in more creative things. I found this Skillshare craft page here, and obviously I can't show you, because I can now. Having a bit of an iffy connection problem here, but we're all right. So on the Skillshare's website, there is a craft section, and they offer free courses here. There's painting with thread, that looks quite interesting. What else we've got? Building your remote control airplane. We've got colour workshops here. Knitting a scarf. There's all kinds of different 10-minute DIY pocket notebook planner. Loads and loads of different things there. Look, there's 103 pages worth of free courses. So if you're interested in any of that, get yourselves on one of those websites. That Skillshare is really good. But that's about it for today, guys. We've got I just want to point you to quickly our documents, the things that make these courses possible, and that's our enrollment forms before you slip off there. Please fill in our enrollment forms if you've interacted with today's session. Fill in the basic information and send that to us via our social media, or our admin at mediasavvycic.co.uk, and we will be able to take these in as enrolments and have these for on record for the National Lottery, who are providing or funding these courses. Okay, so that's really important, so we can demonstrate that we're interacting with the learners that we say we are. We also got a survey, so if you could fill that survey in as well. This is something we've created just to track your feedback, and that would really help us develop our sessions for the future. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for bearing with. I'll look into that little issue that we've had with the logo, and see how we can try and best link that with our cool little drawing that we've done there. And have a go, see what you think. If there's any, listen to it back. If there's any things that aren't so clear, get in touch with us for next week, session number 3, and we'll try and sort that out for you. And I'll try and see if I can work out a better way of linking this to our Google Sheets. But hopefully you've got quite a lot from today's session. You've been introduced into how to use basic calculations within spreadsheets, and how to use this cool little drawing tool that's within Google Drive as well. And hopefully you'll be able to use that yourselves for any cool little things, any little projects that you're working on. Alright, but that's me for today. I'm going to leave you to the rest of your day. Have a nice weekend, and I'll see you next week for session number 3, where we're going to look at Google Slides, which is a PowerPoint type presentation type program, and we're going to look at how we can create some cool little presentations like what I'm using here to demonstrate and show you the different tools and techniques for this course. Alright, so that's me, guys. Thanks very much. Have a nice weekend. Be safe and look after yourselves. Take care.